Welcome, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started now. Welcome to our monthly Greenleaf webinar. We're really happy you could join us today. The topic of today's webinar is the power of great content to boost your brand and to build your platform. My name is Elizabeth Barrett. I am a brand strategist here at Greenleaf Book Group. I work with our authors to help them develop their platforms and their branding strategies to surround and complement their books. While we're going through our webinar today, please feel free to tweet us. You can find us at the handle GreenleafBookGR. Any questions you might have that come up, any comments about the content that's presented today, please go ahead and send it to us in a tweet and use the hashtag IdeasThrive. So before I get started, I do want to mention that we had a webinar from last month that was really fantastic. The topic was building and editing your book. This was hosted by one of our book editors here named Brandy Savarese. She talked about how you should best structure a manuscript and also what it's like to work with an editor through the editorial process when bringing your book to publication. So really great information. That webinar is available for free on the Greenleaf Book Group YouTube channel, so be sure to check that out and get some good information about the editorial process behind your book. So I always like to start presentations with a quote. We have selected a nice one here from Jose Bergaman. He is a writer and playwright from Spain. It's a really nice quote that says, "Who learns most from a good book is the author." And of course, in my experience, I've seen this to be true. The publishing process is very complex. Authors always learn a lot by navigating this world, and hopefully we're going to learn a little bit today. So what is the power of great content? Well, we're going to explore 3 different ways that content is powerful and also use those as our agenda for the webinar. The first is content entry points. This shows a way that content is powerful because you can connect to people in different ways. Another way that content is powerful is because it can serve as the ultimate business card for you. It can enhance your credibility as a thought leader, and we'll explore some ways that it influences your business. Finally, it's also powerful because it can bolster your SEO value and improve the chance that someone will discover you, that they'll discover your book, and that they will discover your platform. So let's go ahead and dive in to content entry points. So this is a phrase that is not commonly heard, but I really like it. I use it, and I like that it describes how content can really achieve engagement for your ideas. So let's go ahead and try and define what this is. What is a content entry point for a book? Well, I like to say that these are the places in a text where a reader can really connect with an idea and the place that they choose to dive in and learn more. So what does this look like? Well, a good place to start is to take a book as an example that is highly visual. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a travel guide spread. So this is a book that offers a lot of different content entry points. This is something that we can really get a firm illustration of this concept for. If we take a look, we're going to see quite a few places that offer a place for us to jump in. There is a chunk of text up in the top left corner. There are a few photographs across the spread. There's a map in the bottom left. There's also a checklist up in the top corner, some colored graphics, and some diagrams. So the point here is that all of these entry points are a place that I can start to engage with the content. And I need to discover, where will my eyes go first? what is my personal preference and how do I like to first engage with this content? If I am drawn to photographs, then I will immediately take a look at that photo. I'll read the caption there, and then I'll move on to the rest of the page and discover more information and more ideas that are being presented. So the visuals are a really great way to illustrate this concept, but what about books that are less visual? Do they also have content entry points? The answer is yes. So let's take a look at one that is more tailored towards a business audience. These are a couple spreads that are pulled out of a business title. As you can see, the pages are less visual than what we saw with the travel guide, but there are still places to dive in. If we take a little bit of a closer look, you'll see on the first page there is an article that this author referenced. This is a third-party magazine article that they've pulled out. They have a really nice paragraph here that includes some nice quotes as well. On the second page, you'll see there's a graphic that illustrates some of their ideas in a more visual form. And on the third page, you'll see that there's a list of questions. There's a pull-out box here where the author has said, you know, these are some questions that you as a reader should reflect on and ask yourself, and this is another way to engage with their content. So once again, as I'm a reader and I'm flipping through this book, I might really be pulled in by this graphic. I'm a visual person, so I really focus on this and I engage here. I read a little bit deeper. I become more interested in the content. I understand it at a different level, and then I move on and read more of the text. But this is a great entry point for you as an author to offer. And what's nice about entry points is that they can extend beyond a book and also be used in your platform. So before talking a little bit about that, let's try and define what a platform is. So you hear this word a lot. We at Greenleaf definitely use it quite a bit. You can define it in many ways, but I have tried to offer a nice, concise definition here. Basically, a platform is a foundation consisting of various assets that a thought leader can build from in order to deliver their ideas to the world. So what do I mean by assets? Well, the assets of a platform are the different channels that you can build, such as a website, a blog, a Twitter feed, and all of these are ways that you can communicate your ideas and push them out into a larger audience. Another way that you can think about these assets are, wait for it, content entry points. So let's explore one person that has a very strong platform and is doing this very well. This is a gentleman named Mark Sester. Mark is an entrepreneur and a venture capitalist. He has built an amazing content platform around his discussions of the VC world and of investing and best practices for business owners. He has a brand name called Both Sides of the Table, and that is what he has used as his name throughout his platform. If we take a look at what he has in terms of assets, he has a really great website where people can visit and learn more about what it is he does. The blog is a place where he offers some chunks of text that are easy to read. The tweets are even shorter, of course. These are very short form text that communicate his ideas very quickly. Medium is a place that he also engages. The long form text is offered through Medium articles that are much longer than a blog post, but go further in depth. He has a great podcast that taps into an audio content entry point. So people that like audio can engage with him through the podcast, and video. He has quite a few videos of him doing interviews with experts and other thought leaders from the VC world. So as you can see, once again, as a person that is getting to know Mark, I have a lot of different options. Where should I dive in? What do I prefer? What is the type of content that resonates most deeply for me? So before we move on, I do want to take a moment to do a quick poll of the audience. This is a chance for you to tell me what is your preferred content entry point. We're going to go ahead and give you a chance to answer. Some of the options are short text, which would be captured in a blog or a tweet, long form text, which we'd find on Medium, photographs or video or audio. So we're going to give a couple seconds here. I think, as I've mentioned before, I consider myself to be a visual person. I really respond well to photos, probably even more so than with video. Photograph will always grab my attention and always give me incentive to learn more about the ideas being presented. So we're going to close the poll now, and let's take a look at what the responses were. Okay, so it looks like long text got about 11% of your votes. Short text was the clear winner with 56%. Photographs were a tie with long text at 11%. And video ranked about in between with 22%. None of you chose audio as your preferred content entry point, which is interesting to note because podcasts are pretty hot right now, but it looks like short text is the big winner. So this is really a good thing to note, that within the group that we've gathered today, we all have different preferences. And as an author and a thought leader, you should be mindful going forward that you offer everyone in your audience a way to engage. So what's the connection here? We've talked about the content entry points for a book and also content entry points for a platform. Well, the power of the content comes because it's actually able to jump from the book to the platform. So let's take a look at how that would play out. So it's likely that if you have a manuscript that you have already created content entry points for your readers, that you've already developed a way for people that are reading your book to take a look at quotes, to take a look at a diagram, to use the third-party articles. And the great thing about this is that you can take those same pieces of content and use them to build these assets. So quotes and articles and statistics are all really great fodder for tweets. You can include a small quote and attribute it to someone. You can even @message that person when you're attributing the quote, providing links to articles of interest, and also short statistics that are powerful. For YouTube, any checklists that you have in your book, those can be made into a video. You can basically talk through that checklist with the viewer of the video. Behind the scenes are also a great option that we often recommend to our authors. This is a chance for you as an author to describe what it was like to create the book. This is particularly powerful for fiction authors, where you have readers that are huge fans of your characters, that are fans of your plots. They really want to know how long it took you to write the book, where were you sitting when you wrote the book, what's your favorite chapter, what was the most difficult part of the writing process. And I would argue that this is an additional content entry point, which is secrets. The secrets behind the creation of a product. And some people are very, very intrigued by the secret, and that would be a nice thing to offer as a place for them to dive in. Pinterest, this is a great place to utilize any visual elements that you've created, graphics, photographs, maps. Medium, as mentioned before, this is a nice place to offer that long-form content, such as a case study that you might have used in your book. Any anecdotes or stories lend themselves nicely to longer form. Questions and takeaways, these are great for blog posts. Any frequently asked questions, address one question per blog post. Also key takeaways from your book. Perhaps at the end of each chapter you have a few takeaways that would make a nice blog teaser to get people more interested in buying the book. And also interviews with experts. If you have referenced somebody in your book that gave you an interview, perhaps reach out to that person again and ask them if they'd be willing to do another interview, but on a podcast that you could then offer as a separate piece of content on your platform. So let's go ahead and review this little chunk that we've talked about so far, the power of content to really connect in new ways. A couple takeaways from this. consider this bridge building process that we just saw on the last slide, that it's not necessary to start from scratch. The content that you have from your book can be repurposed to build your platform. This should also be a way to relieve some of the anxiety that comes from building a platform. I know that authors sometimes experience a little concern about creating these digital assets. They don't really feel interested in pinning or in tweeting or in posting digital text. But don't be worried. You've done this before. You've already created different ways for your readers to engage, and you can take that same content and move it over into the digital space and really create a powerful platform. It's also a way to share your message in different ways. If you create this multimedia platform, you can really cast that net wide, and you increase the chances of reaching more people. If your platform is only based around videos and you're not really offering a lot of text, you're going to miss out on the people that prefer to read your ideas in text form. And finally, another thing to consider is that not everyone in your demographic is the same. So if you have a target audience, you know in general who your ideas are going to resonate with, that's great. But always remember that consumption preferences really vary by personality. Case in point is our poll that we just conducted. All of you have registered for this webinar. You are all members of my target audience. You're all interested in these ideas, but you're different people, and the result of the preferences. So it's important that I offer different ways for you to read these ideas, to see them, to hear them, and you can. So let's take a look now at another way that content is powerful. This is moving more towards the business side of things and looking at the book as the ultimate business card. So let's just ask that question. So how is a book like a business card? That seems like a kind of crazy idea. Well, a book can convey your expertise, and it also enhances your reputation as a leader in your field. So this is something that's become very, very commonplace, that people that have a separate business, a separate consultancy, separate services that they offer, will write a book and capture their wisdom and offer that as a way to boost their brand and to become more competitive in their field. So to take a look at this, I have an example that we're going to kind of follow through. This is a book called Rising to Power. This is a really nice business title that focuses on executive leadership. The book addresses a statistic that says that about 50% of leaders that are entering into an executive role, such as a chief operation officer, a chief financial officer, that these people have a rate of about 50% failing within the first 18 months of taking on their jobs. So this book is a guide to really help executives beat that statistic and excel in their jobs. The co-authors are Ron Carucci and Eric Hansen, and they have a separate business that is a consulting firm called Navalent. And Navalent works with executive leaders and their teams that are seeking to grow a business or to transform their business into something better and more innovative. So they've written this book, and the first thing that it can offer in terms of being a business card is credibility. Having a book under your belt can definitely highlight your expertise. It can raise your reputation in your field. It can increase the legitimacy of your brand and help the way that you are perceived by others. It offers a chance to really distill your core ideas and to create a thesis behind what it is that your business does, and also to offer differentiation. The people that are competing against you in your business space, the other players within your industry, it's likely that not all of them are also published authors. So that it really offers a chance for you to stand out and to be the one that writes the book. Down below you'll see that there's a little graphic here. This is the Rising to Power book jacket, and there's a flap there on the side with a description of the book. One of the quotes that I pulled out there is that it mentions that this book is based on a 10-year longitudinal study. What this means is that Ron and Eric spent 10 years really following a group of executives and checking in with them along the way, the same people over a 10-year period. So Navalent, their business, they conducted this study, and now it's available in this book to read more about. This is a huge example of expertise. It's definitely a differentiator, and it's very impressive that this 10-year study was conducted, and it really makes me think highly of their business. Another thing that a book can offer is name recognition. So when you publish a book, it's a best practice that you also achieve some publicity, and that you work with a PR firm to get your name out there. So suddenly your name will be appearing in many different places. You'll see the name appear on the shelves of bookstores, of course, also in Amazon listings. You'll see reviews of the book in different publications. It's likely that you would be interviewed, also appearing in various publications. Your book may be referenced by other writers, and you may also get invitations to do guest blogging. All of these are ways to cast the net and get your name out into channels that you might not have been able to reach otherwise. Below you'll see an example for Rising to Power, that there was an article written by Business Insider by a woman named Jacqueline Smith. The title of the article is 4 Common Reasons Half of All New Executives Fail. This was written about 5 months after Rising to Power was published, and you'll see that Ron was interviewed, and the book Rising to Power was offered as a resource and a reference for her article. You'll also notice there in the fine print, hopefully you can read it, that Ron is referenced as the managing partner at Navalent and the co-author of Rising to Power. So not only is his name getting recognition, but the business is listed there as well, and also the title of the book is now part of his biography. A last thing that a book can offer in terms of being a business card for you is cross-promotion. So if you have a very powerful book, if you have an interesting story to tell in your book, it's really enticing for your readers to learn more. You know, they're going to be interested in perhaps reading your blog, in signing up for your newsletter, in considering attending a workshop or a seminar that you offer, perhaps hiring you to do some consulting work for them, or hiring you to come and speak to their team. These are all things that are something that translates from your book into additional content offerings. Below you'll see for Rising to Power, they have a really fantastic blog called Transformation Insight. They also recently have launched a quarterly publication called the Navalent Quarterly. This is a long-form piece of text that's free for anyone that wants to visit their website. And if I had read the book and was a fan, you better believe that I'm going to go and check out that quarterly piece of content and learn more. So a few more points to illustrate this. We're going to look more at the Navalent team. You'll see the book cover to the left, and in the middle of the screen, this is their other book flap. We saw the left book flap on an earlier slide. On this flap, we have a little bit of information about Ron and Eric, but below you'll notice that there is a URL for their business. This is the navalent.com URL plus the logo for their business. So they are literally using this book as a business card, because me as a reader, I can now discover more about their business by visiting that website. Over to the right, you'll see that website is a place where traffic will be driven. Definitely gives you a chance to highlight your business expertise. The bio, once again, up in for a Bloomberg Business article, a bio is listed for Ron, and he is listed as both the managing partner at Navalent and also the co-author of Rising to Power. So once again, both the business credential and also the fact that he is an author are part of his bio. The book is definitely adding to his credentials. At the bottom, you'll see that this can lead to events for Rising to Power. About 5 months after the book was published, Ron got an invitation to attend the HVS Global Summit in Dubai. HVS is a global hospitality services company. They asked Ron to come and talk to them not only as a speaker, but also to conduct some sessions with the HVS executives. So this book has really been leveraged well by the Navalent team as a business card, and it's a great example of how this can work. So what are some takeaways here? Well, it's important to note that new audiences await, that once you have published a book and you have that publicity that accompanies it, it can result in customers discovering your business who may never have otherwise found you. The reviews, the interviews, there might be some radio spots. There are many different ways that people can see your name and then try to find out more and discover both the book and your business. The book can also pique interest. If it's powerful and unique, it definitely gives me an incentive to read your blog, to sign up for the newsletter, to seek out your services. And finally, storytelling. If you've written a book, it really shows that you have developed a well thought out thesis and that you can deliver your ideas in a compelling way, that you're able to capture those ideas in a book that lasts for several hundred pages. And that's a really big indicator that you could also bring that to a stage, that you could also deliver ideas and be compelling and be concise as a speaker. So a book can be a really great business card for speaking engagements. So moving on to our third chunk of content, we want to talk about search engine optimization. This is another way that your content can be very powerful. And this phrase is something that you may hear a lot, but it's sometimes a little hard to pin down exactly what it means. So let's try and do that. So what is search engine optimization? Well, I like to say that it's a collection of strategies that can improve the rankings of a website in organic search results. That still sounds a little bit cryptic, so what I mean by this is that there's not just one solution. When we say SEO, there's not one thing that we're talking about. There's a collection of strategies. There's many strategies at play, but the ultimate goal here is that you use those strategies as a way to have your website appear higher on the list of results in Google or in any search engine when somebody searches for the things that you have to offer. When we say organic, that means that the search results that pop up on the screen are not paid for. These are unpaid search results. These have nothing to do with advertising. If you have advertising dollars behind your content, then that dictates where you appear in the results. But organic is something that comes free when anybody searches, and that's where you want your content to pop up. So we're going to talk about two strategies that really have a strong connection to content and that are part of the search engine optimization world. Both of these strategies have to do with something called keywords. This is another phrase that you might have heard before, so let's go ahead and define that as well. What is a keyword? Well, a keyword is an informative word or phrase that's used to indicate the content of a web page. This is a word that you can associate with your content, and the goal here is to achieve two things. You choose keywords that are accurate, that they accurately describe what it is that you have to offer, and that there's also a high search frequency. This means that there are lots of people that are using that keyword and that are searching for it, and that it's not something that's going out into a vacuum. So it's great to start building a list of keywords that you can associate with your content. It's always good to have that list handy. But one strategy to use to really make the most of these keywords is to use something called a long tail. So the first strategy we want to take a look at is the use of the long tail. What is a long tail? You might have also heard this before. It's really a phrase of more than 2 words that's used when searching for something specific. So a long tail keyword means that you have more than just 1 or 2 words. And really, when you think about this, it's very unlikely that somebody's going to go into a search engine and type 1 word or even 2 words to find what they're looking for. It's very common for people to write small phrases when they're searching for something that they want online. So I've offered 2 visuals here of long tail keywords. I went into a Google search and typed in how to improve and also tips for changing. And the results show that there are some long tails that are very popular. How to improve your credit score, you can see that's one of the top ranking results. That's 6 words. That is definitely a long tail keyword. Over on the right-hand side, tips for changing spark plugs. Once again, we got 5 words there. That's definitely a long tail. So there's benefits to using these as associating keywords for your content. Besides the fact that it's more human, and this is just a more accurate way to how people search. But in addition to that, by using these long tail phrases, you're really targeting your keywords more specifically. If we want to take an example here, the keyword how to improve your handwriting over on the left-hand side. Now, if my keyword was more general, if I said that the keyword associated with my content is how to write. Now that's very very general, and you're going to receive a lot of results that have to do with all different types of writing. Now, if I go more specific, how to improve handwriting, this is much more targeted, and I'm more likely to reach the people that specifically want help with that one skill, and that happens to be the one skill that I can advise on. So targeting is really great because you're going to reach the people that really want your advice. And also, there's less competition. Once again, if we had that general term, how to write, you might end up with some competition from fiction coaches, from educators, from mommy bloggers that might be talking about how children can better write. There might even be some philosophy hits in there. But if you use the long tail and you have something very specific, like how to improve handwriting, there won't be as many competitors. There won't be as many people talking about that because it is pretty specific. So you have less competition, and you're reaching a more targeted audience, and you're also tapping into a more human way of searching. So once you start this list and you have this idea of, okay, I get the long tail keywords, I understand that I should not only use 1 word chunks for describing my content. What do you do? How do you structure that list? Is there a way that you can get even more impact? And the answer is yes. And that comes into our second strategy, which is to use an SEO sales funnel. So what do I mean by sales funnel? Well, anytime a person is feeling a pain point, they have a problem in their life, and they start searching for a solution, a sales funnel has basically started. And it starts with them searching, and it ends with them finding a solution. If we break this down into a couple phases, I've highlighted awareness, consideration, and conversion. So these are 3 different phases that a person will go through. At the awareness level, a person is feeling a pain point. They're searching for help, but they don't really know what the solution is. They're aware that something is wrong, but they're really just casting their problem out into the universe and hoping for some information to come back. At the consideration phase, this is where a person has learned enough to now be searching for something a little bit more specific. They think that they know what the solution is to their problem, and they're considering it and trying to make a final decision. At the conversion level, this is a place where someone is ready to become a customer, either through a purchase or through participation. What this means is that they know what the solution is. They're ready to move forward. This can sometimes come by purchasing a product or a service. It can also sometimes come just by engaging with whatever you have offered as a solution. This can come from reading a blog, from signing up for a newsletter, by attending an event. They convert to become a fan of your brand or to become a fan of your business. So if we want to kind of combine these two ideas, the long tail keyword mixed with the sales funnel, how do we kind of plug these pieces together? Well, let's do an example and look at what a leadership book would look like. We're just going to take a generic leadership book that would talk about management practices and good ways to improve leadership within a company. So over on the awareness side, some long tail keywords that might be useful here are trouble with communication, no company vision. Perhaps the boss has a really hard day and they go onto Google and they type in how to handle employee absenteeism. These are examples of long tail keywords where the person is having a hard time. They know that they're having trouble. They know that they need some help. Not really sure what the solution is at this point. Moving over to consideration, that same person might have now done a little bit of search. They think that they know what's wrong, and so now they're typing in how to motivate a team, writing a corporate vision statement, orientation best practices. So they've decided, you know what, I really need to boost morale. That's going to solve my problem. I need to motivate my team. I need to figure out how to write a vision statement. I need to really bolster my orientation practices, and that's going to solve my problem. So this is a place where they're searching for a specific solution, and you can step in and offer that information. On the conversion phase, we might see something even more specific. This is where they are ready to either make a purchase or start participating in some kind of solution. Some long tail keywords here could be top management books for CEOs, team building workshops in Austin, best business podcast. So here they've decided, you know what, I need a book, I need to attend a workshop, and I need to listen to a podcast. So they're looking for a specific item that they will now be trying to use to solve their problem. So what's great here is that if you know that these keywords are being searched for, and you know that you have answers to these problems, then you can craft your content around these words. If you were to have a leadership book that offers answers to some of these concerns, you could offer a blog on employee absenteeism, and you could title that blog, How to Handle Employee Absenteeism. You can use that exact same keyword and use it in the title. You can use it in the first paragraph of text within the blog post. You can also use it on the back end as a tag in the metadata. This is the section of your blog that would not be facing the public, but that tells the search engines, hey, this is what I've written about, and this is what you should offer in your results. So if you do that, if you were to write a blog on how to handle employee absenteeism, you would be able to reach this person while they're in the awareness phase. And that means that they don't even know they need a book yet. They don't know that they want a book and that the book is a solution. But if they see that you have offered information on this topic, and they click through and they read your blog, and then you use that as a way to cross-promote and say, hey, by the way, I also have a book that you purchase and then find out even more about this, it's likely that they will then convert and become a customer or a fan. So this is a really powerful thing that content can do for you. A last thing to consider is that it is important to know that the keywords you select are being searched for. You need to make sure that you are choosing keywords that do have an audience and that do have a demand behind them. So how do you do that? Well, a couple tools that are really nice to use are all offered by our friends at Google. The first one is Google AdWords. they have a keyword planner tool. This is something that is free to sign up for. You do need to have an account with a username and password, and there are no charges until you use AdWords to purchase advertising on Google. But if you'd like to use it to do some research, that is free once you sign up. Below you can see that I've used my Google AdWords profile to search for the Longtail keyword, how to motivate a team. You'll see that the results there show 1,600 average monthly searches. This means that about 1,600 people a month are typing those exact words into Google. So I know that, yes, this is being searched for, and if this is something that accurately describes what I am offering, this is great. Add this to the list, put it into one of the phases, and start building some content around that. Google Trends is another free tool. This one you do not need a profile. This is open for anyone to research. And also Google Keyword Suggest. The Keyword Suggest is what we saw a couple slides back, where you start typing a few words into the Google field, and it automatically suggests the rest of the words. We saw this for how to change your spark plugs. I can't remember the exact wording. But the point here is that when you type in a few words, Google will tell you what the popular searches are. They will not tell you the exact number the way that AdWords will, but you can still get a really good idea of what the popular searches are, and you can use those to fill out your keyword list. So let's review a little bit about this SEO section. Some takeaways here: just remember to think like a human. Really, when you're selecting these keywords, consider that these long tail phrases are more realistic to how searches function, and these are the ways that you would likely search for something. Feel free to put yourself in the position of your customer and think about how you would type when you're searching for a solution for a problem that you could find a solution for in your book. Also to span the whole funnel. We talked about the SEO sales funnel, and considering all three phases and really trying to flesh out all three sections, this can increase the odds of reaching more people, and also reaching people that don't even realize that what they need is a book or a blog or a podcast or whatever you're offering. If you hit earlier in that sales funnel, you're more likely to reach people that don't know that they need your help, and they'd be very, very happy to receive it, and then quicker to convert. And finally, use that content. The content is the power. So once you have those keywords, the power comes from building content around those keywords, and really having it be targeted, having the keywords be something that is frequently searched, and basically you're going to end up filling that need and capturing that traffic and utilizing it for your brand and for your products. And ultimately that discoverability that this SEO process enables really will raise the legitimacy of you as a thought leader and as for your brand as well. So let's review everything that we talked about today. Content is really powerful for many reasons, but we've talked about how it can jump from the page to the platform. You can repurpose this content and use it to build your platform assets, and that enables you to connect in different ways to different people. It can also enhance your credibility as a thought leader and promote your business. And as we just saw, it can also serve as a way to really improve the chance that someone could discover you, someone who might not have otherwise had a chance to find you. So I'm going to go ahead and say thank you for joining us. We are going to answer a couple questions right now. I want to draw your attention to the footer there. This is an email address for Marin. She is our business development executive here at Greenleaf. Please feel free to use this email address to contact us with any questions about the Greenleaf brand development services or any questions about this webinar. All right, so We're looking for a couple questions. It looks like we have none to answer. So your tweets, I think, came through, but we don't have any submitted through the webinar system. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up then. I do want to mention that next month, the webinar topic will be strategically building your audience. This will be hosted by my colleague, Ashley Jones. She is the Director of Marketing and Business Development here at Greenleaf. And building your audience and knowing who your audience is and how to engage with them is very, very powerful, very important. And I hope you'll be able to attend that one as well. So thank you again for joining us at Greenleaf. We believe that ideas thrive, and we love having a chance to share ours with you. Thank you.